This your man Bundles, Bouncer Chronicles. Hope y'all enjoy. So we're gonna talk about my first night ever bouncing. My first night ever bouncing. My kid's mother's father is a bouncer from New York City. He's been bouncing all over the city for years. You know what I'm saying? So when me and her got together, he seen my size and he asked me if I ever did bouncing work. I'm like, nah, I never did bouncing work. He was like, yo, how you carry yourself? I said, yo, man, you know, I get by. Ain't nobody messing with me, so, you know, I do all right. This is before I had a license. This is before I had anything. So he was like, yo, man, you want to work? You want to make some money? And at the time, I didn't have a job. So I'm like, yeah, hell yeah, I want to make some money. He said, yo, I got a gig for you. The gig was 12 hours. You know what I'm saying? It was from 10 o'clock at night to 10 o'clock the next morning. The pay at that time, the pay was $150, which is low for today's standards. But at that time, I'm like, $150, cool, I'm with it. And the funny thing about it is that it was at IHOP on 145th Street in New York City's Harlem area. Anybody that's from Harlem knows about the IHOP on 145th Street. So that was my first official bouncing job, was at IHOP on 145th Street. Now I know some of y'all might be like, IHOP got security. Let me tell you something. From 10 o'clock, because IHOP was 24 hours. So from 10 o'clock to 10 the next morning, I want to say between 10 and 1, the spot was pretty much dead. It was like easy money. 1 o'clock hit, crazy, because I seen like they started setting up barricades outside and stuff like that. And I'm like, yo, all that for pancakes? Come to find out, there's like 4 or 5 different clubs in the area. So, you know, once the club in, everybody wants to get something to eat. They go to like your local diners and stuff like that. And it just so happened that IHOP was the closest thing in the area. So boom, I'm there. You know, I ain't got to check IDs or nothing because it's IHOP. Ain't something don't look at it. They always just like maintain order and make sure nothing happens in it. So me being naive, I'm like, it's IHOP. What can possibly go wrong at IHOP? Sadly mistaken. We had 9 security guards in IHOP. 9 security guards in IHOP. And I think, matter of fact, I was the smallest guard because I'm 6'3". At the time, I think I weighed like 240 pounds. Mind you, I'm the smallest guard, 6'3", 240 pounds. So I'm like, yo, man, like, you know, I'm just winging it this day because just my first day, I'm just winging it. They said, yo, it's time to set up the barricades outside. We set up the barricades outside by, I want to say by 2:30, 3 o'clock, the line was around the corner. The line was literally around the corner. So I'm like, yo, all of this for IHOP? IHOP ain't never been that good. But you know, all the clubs is letting out. Everybody want to take their little shorties, they eat and this, that, and the third. Cool. So now when we setting up the barricades, this is when it turned into real security work. Cats went and skipped the line, arguments. Yo, how long is the wait? This, that, and the third. So they had me on the inside. Everybody know that when you're what they consider a new fish, when you're a new fish on a security job, they usually have you play the inside. You know what I'm saying? Do the intel, walking around, making sure nothing happening inside. The vets usually run the door. The vets are the people that maintain the tempo before people actually walk inside. And they make a little bit of money at the door too, but we're going to get into that later. You know what I'm saying? So they had me walking around with this other guy. Not going to mention his name. We walking around. Everybody's getting seated, this, that, and the third. Now, here's the dilemma about IHOP. This is why the security detail was strong at IHOP. When people are drunk and they eat their pancakes or whatever they ordered, they want to kind of sit on their food. They don't want to eat and then immediately get up and leave. So That's where the conflict came at, because you got a line down the block for people waiting to get in IHOP. Once the IHOP is full, people finish eating. The establishment was trying to like rush people out, like tell them like they got an hour or whatever. And most of the time, the people from Harlem that was coming in there, they came like 10, 15, 20 deep at a time. So you had to put extra tables together, you know what I'm saying, and things like that. And then, you know, they felt like because they spent a substantial amount of money, you can't rush them out. So now you got to deal with irate customers outside waiting to get in. Then you got to deal with customers that's already in, and they paid their money, and they feel like they shouldn't be rushed because they done spent a certain amount of bread. That's where the conflict come into play. My first night there, we had this group of guys came in, they sat, they ate. Now, for me personally, I feel like they wasn't wrong, but me being a security guard and me being what they would consider a contract worker for the establishment, I had to do what I had to do. So management came and said, yo, these guys gotta leave. They've been here for an hour and a half. Okay, we go to the table. We're like, gentlemen, listen, we gotta ask you guys to leave. Y'all finish your food. It seemed like everybody from Harlem said they run Harlem. So, you know, one guy was like, yo, man, you know who I am, man? I run Harlem. We ain't going nowhere. I spent $200 in here, this, that, and the third. Y'all not gonna rush me and da-da-da. So I'm like, all right. Now, mind you, it's my first night, like I said before. So my man that's working with me, he been there for a little bit longer than I have. So he's the one doing most of the talk. I'm just standing there to, you know, be the muscle, like just standing there. Like, come on. So he talking to dude. He's like, yo, listen, man, you know what I'm saying? It's an hour capacity. We got other people waiting outside to get in. We got to make sure everybody get accommodated. So dude was like, yo, I don't give a fuck what you talking about, man. I spend good money in here. I'm going to leave when I get ready. So I look at my man look at me. He gave me that look like, it's your first night, but get prepared. So I'm like, all right. So now, mind you, I'm still standing there, but I'm standing my ground, but I'm not saying nothing. So I'm just standing there, looking. So then he talked to the dude some more, and I started to see like, it went from just conversation to now it's like arguing. So when he started arguing with dude, I'm looking at all the dudes at the rest of the table. I'm looking at all the dudes at the table. Ain't nobody really moving, but you could tell like the frustration is starting to build. So, you know, I'm standing there, I'm looking. He said, yo, man, I don't give a fuck what you talking about. You guys gotta leave now. Dude said, yo, make me leave. My man went to grab him. When he went to grab him, the whole crew, like everybody that was sitting at the table, the whole crew stood up. So when the whole crew stood up, the person that was closest to me, I grabbed him, yoke him up. So when I grabbed him, yoke him up, I guess somebody must have hit the alarm or somebody must have did like a yo. All the security came inside. Start yoking dudes up, tussling and this, that, and the third. The funny part about it is that there was a girl at another table and she was like, all of this for pancakes? And I felt it funny. Like, after we got the guys out and everything, like, nobody got hurt or nothing like that, but they realized, you know, it was they didn't realize how many security guards was there, because mind you, it was IHOP. So we get the dudes out, come back inside. Now we got to hold the line because we got to make sure, you know, everything is, the temperature is down, because we had to literally get physical with somebody in fucking IHOP. So the girl was like, yo, all this for some pancakes? So I start laughing. So my man was like, yo, you want to work here? I said, what you mean by that? He's like, yo, we need an extra guard and we like the way you handle yourself. You want to work here permanently? I was like, sure. At that time, I didn't have a job, you know what I'm saying, 3 nights a week. I was like, hell yeah, you know what I'm saying? Like, I'm down with that. So I officially got the job because of that. You know what I'm saying? So that was my story about my first night doing bouncing ever. Shout out to IHOP on 145th Street. I think it's still there. But that's my story, man. Like I said, like, comment, subscribe. This your man Bundles, Bouncer Chronicles. Hope y'all enjoy.